Okay. All right, gonna let people join up on this Facebook, YouTube, 3 News Plus, however you're watching us live. It's a live stream, November the 19th, 8:15 in the evening. Okay, we're good on the audio, just making sure there. And you know, lots to talk about, although the forecast, at least the next 5 to 7 days, is not terribly exciting, at least in my opinion, here in the coastal bend. If you're watching from somewhere else, my name is Alan Holt, working in Corpus Christi, Texas, KIII TV. It's the ABC affiliate in town here. So that's how all of this is going to be focused on. It'll be from the point of view of South Texas and the coastal bend. So again, just going to allow people to join up on this live feed so we don't have to go back and keep rehashing similar questions over and over and over, which will probably happen anyway. And we'll get started here in a minute or two, but my goodness, humidity is out of control right now for mid to late November. We are really up there in the humidity department here. It's more in line with, honestly, the middle of summer level of humidity that we've got going on right now in the coastal bend. So we'll get started here. Looks like people are starting to trickle in, and we'll get the graphics moving. So this is the pattern that we are in, and it's one that it has not changed over the last week or so. And really what's happening is we're getting these disturbances coming in from the Pacific. They're tracking down the west coast of the US. They stall out over the northern Baja. And as they start to progress to the east, they run into the influence of a ridge of high pressure over the Gulf. That ridge is sending these disturbances north, which puts them in line for a lot of central and northern Texas, but it's too far north for South Texas and the coastal bend to really, take part in the offering of rain that these systems are bringing. So we had one pass well north on Monday. Didn't really do much for anyone. We've got another one that's going to pass north of the area tomorrow, and then a third one that'll do the same thing early next week. At least that's how it looks right now. And this pattern, you know, it's really, the track of these is in large part due to this ridge that is in the Gulf. So that's just me drawing it on a map, trying to communicate, you know, how the models are handling it. This is now just straight model data. This is from the European model. And you'll see when we're talking about systems, what we're looking at here is energy, cyclonically spinning air, 20,000 feet up in the atmosphere. Those red hues, that's where the air is rising. And we're really interested to see where those are moving to then try and figure out rain chances. That's the gist of what we're looking at here. And you'll see, you know, this system, this is the one we're talking about for tomorrow, Friday. It tracks toward Texas and then moves to the north as it passes west to east across the state. Meantime, another one moves into Southern California, the Baja Peninsula area, and that one does the same exact thing. It approaches Texas, and then that ridge tries to kick it more to the north, which for South Texas and the coastal bend is not great if we're looking for rain, a change in the weather, a cold front. These aren't the best case scenario for us. If you're looking for something like that, if you love the humidity and the warmth, then this is great. This is a perfect setup for you. But you know, that's what we're looking at, and that's why we keep missing these little rain chances that are working through the state. There's still room for north-south, you know, adjustments on this one coming in early next week. I think this one actually does deliver a weak front, but this pattern that we're in, it's an annoying one from my point of view because I like it nice and clean, right? I like it to be where we get a system coming in, it has a cold front, the front just works right on through the state, all the way through South Texas. You know, we get a little rain chance where the front passes through, then it cools off, clears up, and we cycle through that pattern over and over and over, right? That definitely does happen, but the one that we're in right now is one that sees these systems come, they get deflected north, the fronts are staying north, we stay humid, but we miss out on all of the rain chances, and it's just, you know, it's not my favorite. It may be yours, but it's not a fun one to try and explain when it's happening like this over and over and over. So right now it is really warm, upper 70s, the dew points in the low 70s. This is just absurd stickiness for you know, the second half of November. Southeast wind coming in 15 miles per hour. That's coming in right off the Gulf, which the near shore sea surface temps, those are still in the mid to upper 70s. So the air coming in, interacting with that Gulf water, it's not cooling off a lot. And that's one of the reasons why the dew point values are so high, which in turn are keeping the temperatures from dropping off a whole lot overnight. Radar right now is starting to look more active. It is more active in West Texas, and rain coming in from Mexico tonight, and I've been calling this on the air, between a corridor between Del Rio and Dallas. That stripe of land in Texas looks to be the most likely zone for meaningful, perhaps flooding rains tonight and into tomorrow. And you see how the rain is tracking in from southwest to northeast. It's going to maintain that track. So I think these areas get, you know, multiple rounds of heavy rain, and that's really what's going to drive up the flooding possibilities for some locations in that region. This is all out way ahead of the system in question, which is still out toward the desert southwest. And you'll watch on the Futurecast here. This is going to take us through tonight and into tomorrow afternoon. Watch that area between Del Rio and Dallas. These little pulses of energy going to come in the same direction the rain's tracking, southwest to northeast, and you'll see it. You'll see the waves of rain track over that region, and that's where I think the bullseye is going to be in terms of highest rainfall totals when all this is said and done. For South Texas, the coastal bend, tomorrow, even though it's going to be really active north of here, tomorrow I see, the way I see it playing out is we're getting rain moving in from the south, and it's more miss than hit. We're using the phrase widely scattered, which in my brain is 30% coverage. That's what we've got tomorrow. So there's going to be a lot of disappointment, especially when we see what's happening to the north of here. And I'm trying to explain why that's happening, right? Why we are not getting into the meat and potatoes of these rain chances. So for us, it's not a huge deal tomorrow. I think there are some splash and dash showers. If it overproduces, then great. We want that, right? We want rain. But I just don't see it being overly impressive for us make sure the mic's good here, into tomorrow. I think the rain chances may hedge up a little bit Friday, but tomorrow not looking the best. The flood risk, now, we talked about Del Rio to Dallas. The Weather Service is really focusing on Del Rio to Junction. So Del Rio up to the I-10 corridor, southwest to northeast. That little corridor looks to be where several inches of rain likely going to fall. And that yellow shaded area between San Angelo, Austin, San Antonio points to the west, there still could be some fairly heavy rains in that region as well. But we in the coastal bend are too far south to really get in to where the heaviest rains with this setup will be. There are already flood watches out for the area. They're going to kick in at midnight tonight, and they will last through Thursday night. So all of those counties shaded in green there under a flood watch, because there could be some areas of flash flooding given the amount of rain that is anticipated for those spots. So again, Thursday locally, South Texas, the coastal bend, I don't think it's an overly active day. There may be some passing showers, but overall about 30% of our area looks to be getting rain. Friday, that front that'll be helping get a lot of this rain going north of here approaches the coastal bend and becomes stationary, meaning it's not going to blow through. We're not going to get a big wind shift. We're not going to get a big temperature drop. We're not going to have a big drop in humidity. But with that front coming in and stalling out, a lot of times weather likes to happen around boundaries. So we're going to have, converging winds, and when winds are converging, they tend to go up. And with how much moisture we're going to have in the atmosphere, it's easily possible that, scattered showers again are in play. Do I think everyone gets it? No. If this front for some reason stays north, then the rain chances go down. If it gets more to the south, then I think more of the region, gets a rain chance. But Friday, this front will be in play. That may be, caution for some football games. I think a lot of this activity fades away with the loss of daytime heating. Weird to be saying that in November. But I think we're going to be in the middle to upper 80s Friday afternoon as this thing comes in. And as we start to lose some of that heat, I think we'll also lose some of the fuel for whatever showers and storms will be out there. And keep in mind, the sun now is going down, prior to 6 o'clock. So I want to say no issues at all, but with the front over us, we'll have to just see how the radar is behaving come kickoff Friday evening. This thing stays stationary over us, right, into the weekend. So we're going to keep that loose, widely scattered chance for rain in place through the weekend. And then here's that next system early next week. It does the same thing. It kicks north as it approaches Texas, and it moves that rain chance more to the north. So, and like we started first thing on this little stream, there's still room for change both ways. This could move more north and it could move more south, but the trend, what we've been seeing is that this high pressure ridge in the Gulf is kicking systems to the north. And if that holds, then that's, we shouldn't be expecting much. So I'm trying to, it's funny, right? As a meteorologist, our job is to talk about the weather, right? It's the job. We've got to talk about it. And so, yes, there are little low-end rain chances each day. So we're talking a lot about rain. I fully am aware that when we talk about rain, it may come across that, well, it's going to rain all day, every day, or we've got these massive rain chances coming our way. And it's not necessarily the case with this setup in particular for the coastal bend. Even though I do think the radar will have something on it each day, it's not going to be what we all think of when we're talking about rain, which is we cash in on it, right? So when we think about totals here, over the course of the next 5 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, a quarter inch is not all that much when you're talking about 5 days worth of rain chances. When we show these maps, it doesn't mean it's going to rain every day for every spot between November 19th and 24th. That's just a 5-day window. And these are plausible accumulations of rain during that time. So for Corpus Christi, this is not drought busting by any means. Could be beneficial for the watershed. The northern, say, quarter of the watershed could pick up between 2 and 5 inches of rain. But I've got to offer the perspective that you think about summer, the 4th of July devastation up in the hill country. The following week, that part of the watershed where west of San Antonio and north, a lot of rain fell there. Like over a foot of rain fell there. And as that runoff traversed down the Nueces, the Frio rivers, it soaked into dry river beds, and a very small amount eventually got to Choke Canyon. I don't think anything got to Lake Corpus Christi, but the combined level came up some 0.5%, and that was with a foot of rain, where we're thinking 2 to 5 inches of rain could be possible, to tonight and tomorrow. So not the best, but it's something, right? We just need a lot more of these to happen to really start to make progress with respect to the drought. I'm going to just plug Water Woes. If you haven't read that yet, please read it. It's great information about just the overall scope of the water issues here. It's not solely drought driven. It's not solely industrial driven. It's a multifaceted problem, and it's very complex. And the fact of the matter is that on average, we are consuming more than comes into our reservoirs. Read it. It's a great resource. So rainfall coverage, There will be higher and lower chances, minor, adjustments in the forecast. But what I really am saying here is that 20 to 40% will be the odds each day through Monday. May extend to Tuesday if for some reason that early next week disturbance maybe tracks a little more to the south or slows down. But I think it's about 20 to 40% coverage on who gets rain, each day over the next 5 days. Another way of looking at it is 60 to 80% will not get rain each of the next 5 days. So that's where the rain chances stand as of tonight. The muggy meter is out of control. This is something I would expect to see in early May, not the second half of November, where we're riding near 70 on the dew point consistently. If you were up this morning, this is fun. I can talk as long as I want on this thing. It's not like a weather hit. But if you were up this morning, maybe you're up 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. I've got a little one at home, so I've got a natural alarm clock now. But if you were up that early and you noticed condensation on your windows, it's typical in the summer here, depending on where your thermostat is. But that was because of how high the dew point was this morning. It was in the middle 70s. And when you see the condensation, let's say the dew point this morning was 75 outside. I know I had my thermostat set to 73 last night, meaning that the air inside of my house was cooler than the dew point outside. So condensation was forming on the exterior of my windows because the air that was coming and touching the outside of my windows was cooling to the temperature of my house and condensing onto it. Again, that happens all the time in the summer, but I chuckled to myself when I saw it this morning because I was like, man, it's humid. I digress. Early next week, that system we were talking about earlier, right now it looks like it may drop a little front in, but the system we're getting tomorrow at one point also looked like it was going to drop a front in, and then it kicked more to the north, and it's caused me to say that these things are good from far, but far from good when we're talking about the front aspect of it, the rain chances from these systems. November has not delivered on substantial and consistent cooler weather. I went as far as to add into this graphic how much above average temperatures are going to be, and it's 10 to 20 degrees above average through Monday, with the overnight lows just out of control. Those are way 20 degrees above average on the overnight lows. We may set some records for how warm it is overnight, and that's a function of the humidity. It's really high right now. Modest drop in the lows and a minimal drop in the highs Tuesday, Wednesday, and that's if that system can come through. Thanksgiving now, it's not reliable in terms of, I can't sit here and say today that it's going to be 81, 54. I know the trend that's showing up, and this is the spread in the models. I'm showing you the coldest and the highest, right? So on the lows, the models are anywhere between 48 and 73 for the morning low Thanksgiving Day, next Thursday. That's a really big spread. The high temperature spread is anywhere between 64 and 84. So little takeaway on the highs, not as warm as right now, right? That's good. And a lot of the modeling is more so on the cooler side of this spread on the lows and highs. So what I would say right now today is that it's trending cooler Thanksgiving Day. There may be a front in the mix, but that front keeps getting pushed back and back and back. It might not get here till early December. I would say 70s in the day, 50s in the morning would be a good, outlook. That would be fair. 79, 71, I'm just going 70s, right? And then 50s in the morning. So we'll have numbers on the 7-day for Thanksgiving tomorrow. This is how the 7-day looks today, and that is very spring-like. Definitely does not look like the tail end of meteorological fall. December 1st is meteorological winter, and you see the outlook leading up to that. So can try and answer some of the questions. I guess I'm going to have to do one about the new gig that I'll be transitioning to in early December. Maybe we'll do a special stream the first week of December sometime. But I'll try and hang out here and answer any questions that may come through on the comments. And I'm looking at Facebook comments. So if you're watching on YouTube or 3 News Plus, I cannot see the real-time comments. And it doesn't look like there are a ton, so it's either delayed or we did such an exquisite job answering all of the questions that there aren't any now. Hey, I appreciate it, Chrissy. I appreciate it, Joanne. Johnny, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Hyder. And Nora, thank you as well. Thank you, Deanne Holmes McConnell. We'll have to do another one where I talk all about the new opportunity that I've got. But we'll leave this one here for now. I'm going to go update all graphics, make sure we're good to go for our 10 o'clock broadcast. And we'll see you then. If not then, some other time. See ya.